So first off, congratulations. I
Thank you very much.
understand. I understand that if we take you back to last Tuesday, the call from Stockholm was something of a surprise.
Of course, it was a total surprise, yes. And it's also at 5 in the morning, so,
And the research that you won for was done in 1985 while you were a PhD student experimenting with lasers. What was it that you were trying to achieve at the time?
My PhD project was actually doing something that required a high-intensity laser. It was supposed to work in a way that many, many photons of light would interact with an atom all at the same time. And to do that, you need to have all of your photons squeezed into a small volume. So that's what we were trying to do. But unfortunately, if you do that inside your laser, it blows up. And so the idea came around to say, okay, what we have to do is not squeeze all the pulses first, stretch them out so that it's over a great big volume, amplify it up, and then when we have all of the photons in the great big volume, you can squeeze it back down to a small volume, and now you have a really intense source of light.
And why is it that you wanted to improve the intensity of the lasers?
Well, we wanted to interact with atoms in new ways, and this type of laser can now have a force on an electron that's bigger than the force that holds the electron to the atom. And also it can be done very shortly, and so the electrons simply fly off the atoms when they're inside these laser fields.
So if they're a greater intensity, that's useful both in physics, but also for applications, including corrective laser eye surgery?
So when people get this corrective surgery, people would actually scalpel off the outside part of the cornea, and then they would use the UV laser to reshape the cornea to a new shape so you could see, and then put the flap back. What the ultrafast laser does is that because it doesn't have to just cut from the surface, it's only at the intense focal point that it does this damage where the electrons come off the atoms. You could actually put your laser and scan it over your cornea, and it would cut underneath that. Instead of using a metal scalpel, you can use a laser.
Sounds like a much less painful process.
That's right. And it can be very precise with the laser.
Now, I wish we didn't have to talk about gender. I'm sure that's a topic that you've spoken about a lot this week, but as you'll be very well aware, you're, of course, just the third woman to win a Nobel Prize in physics. I guess, first off, do you think that women are currently underrepresented among the Nobel laureates?
Well, 3 in 100 years or something. I think there are a higher percentage of women doing fantastic science than that, so probably we're underrepresented by the Nobel Prize, yes.
And lots of people have asked you about being a woman in physics, and I think you said so far that you feel like you have always been, treated fairly and paid well.
Actually, the University of Waterloo is always very careful. At one point, I got this letter, saying that we look into making sure that women are paid equal, but we realized, and the whole long line at the very end was, and you were being treated equal, so you won't get a raise. And I went, well, too bad, because I would have liked a raise, but at least I'm being treated equal. So that's the way it is.
That's really good to know. And much has also been made of the fact that you are an associate professor rather than a professor. And I think you said you'd never applied. Is that right?
Yeah, now I really wish I just had. I had colleagues that were saying, why aren't you applying? You should be applying. And I sort of just said, okay, I'll probably do it next year.
And to get a bit meta, obviously, I started these few questions by apologising for asking you about the very fact that you're a woman. How has it felt over the past few days answering so many questions on that topic?
I do hope that we do get to the point, we all hope we get to the point where this just becomes not discussed anymore. So hopefully soon there's enough women and enough people of color and enough people, every group out there that feels that they get the recognition they deserve. And then we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Any suggestions on how we can reach that point? Either what advice to younger scientists, or even to the Nobels as to how to make the system work better?
I think we've been pushing for a lot of years, and I do feel like women's lib was talked about a lot in the 70s, and I certainly always felt that, as a woman I could do whatever the heck I wanted. And maybe a lot of women who felt that got out there and did it, and maybe we let it slide again. Certainly this is a moment in history where the women around the world aren't letting much slide anymore. So I think things are changing again fairly quickly again. The question is whether we can consistently keep moving forward until it's all done.
And Donna, you now have an incredible platform from which to speak, being a Nobel laureate. How do you plan to use that?
I don't know. It's kind of a scary kind of thing because I am somebody who just talks a lot without thinking. And people have been quoting me back, and I went, did I actually say that? Did I actually say that? So that's got me a little scared. I will have to practice not just saying the first thing that comes into my mind.
And how has your life changed then since becoming a Nobel laureate on Tuesday?
Well, completely. This is just completely crazy. And, I got to talk to the Prime Minister of Canada for the first time ever. And he was very nice about it because I said, this is like your life all the time. And he said, no, I don't always get to speak to a Nobel laureate.
Wow. Well, enjoy it. It sounds like it's hectic, but congratulations again.
Thank you.